Okay, so happy Tuesday. This is Nebulous Fleet Command. I have never really played this game before. Actually, no, I have not played this game before. I did a couple of the tutorial stuff. See, I can see I did. I think this is the one I started on. Or they? Oh, they changed this around. This is different from last time I saw it last week. They did a big update for this game Friday. So this is actually different. Line system of Emmet, blah blah blah. Okay, so anyway, we have tutorial stuff to do for single player. There's also skirmish modes to do. Multiplayer is a big thing in this game, I think. Fleet editor, you can actually go in and create your little different types of fleets. So we have two little factions. I really don't know the story behind this, so. But again, long stuff to read there. So you can actually go in here and modify the ships for your fleet. This is a frigate, so this is a nice little tiny ship. Add ship from blank hole from ship template. But anyway, as you can see, so we have different mountings, which can be communication, so EU or electronic warfare. Fleet support, not an option here. Sensors, different type of missile launchers, basically for different locations on the ships too, and then of course rules for the launchers. And then we get point defense, which is an MK defender, point defense turret stuff. So flat cannon type deal. So again, different types of point defense. Of course, weapon. Oh, we have cannons now too. I don't know if these are new or not. So you have different cannons you can put on the ship. And that. So as you can see, we have 4 fittings for that. And then the fittings themselves are in different spots. So in this case, that one's up top. That one's below. And then that's actually meant for missiles right there, I think. And that one's top and below too. So again, this is just a little frigate. Let's carry aircraft for those wondering. Oh yeah. They added actual craft for, or small craft for carriers and stuff. So how do we get to see a carrier? From a blank hull. So we have battleship classes, escort carriers, heavy cruiser, light cruiser, destroyer, frigate. So carriers. I just want to see what this looks like. So it's definitely bigger than the frigate. So these are mountings for weapons, compartments. Bulk internal hangar. So that's where you're going to guess where all your. Oh, that's different. Modules. That's all under stuff underground inside the ship here. Different compartments, different stuff. Take only TIE defenders. I don't know if that's no spacecraft. Select the craft. Do we have to build the fighters? Bulk internal. Or does this mean no spacecraft goes in? Oh no, this is that's the internal hangar. Still nothing in there. What about TIE defenders, as in the food or the people? Hangar 2. So you could actually spacecraft strike down station, spacecraft repair station. So this isn't actually the actual aircraft to go in there. So how do you do that? Anyway, we'll worry about that later. We're not even to that point yet. I don't even know how to play the freaking game. So, again, I get distracted. We'll look at this later, maybe. Discard the changes. Okay, let's get started on actual, learning how to play the game. So, Fleet Academy tutorial. Interface and basic maneuvering, weapons employment. This is basically just how to fly around. See, as you can see, I completed it. And weapons. Let's figure out how to do this. Easy. Squad of arrows, a squad of hellcats, a squad of thunderbolts, and of course a squad of longbows. What about the atlas? Okay, recon imaging message are missing. So we're going to have 2 friendly forces, so 2 frigates, right? Yep. Cave 1 message. From the interface, weapons control is as simple as point and click. Well, maybe not that simple, but it's easier than having to run a command down the line. Academy Command has authorized you for your basic weapons trial, so we'll be going over targeting, gunnery, and basic missile usage. It'll be fun.
Now comes my favorite part. Weapons and how to use them.
Oh yeah, voicing.
Don't worry about that red contact over in the distance. It's a decommissioned frigate that's been tugged out here for target practice.
What? Oh, there.
Before we get to weapons, we need to learn about the tactical view. You can switch between tactical and normal views by pressing spacebar.
Tactical.
The view controls here are the same as before, but you can zoom out much further and get a better idea of the situation in the battle space. Take a moment to look around now.
So the blue thing, the blue dashed lines, I have no idea what those are supposed to be. I'm guessing maybe weapon ranges of some kind? Maybe?
The tactical view provides you with a lot of information that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. It's your primary way of knowing what's happening around you. You'll be using it a lot. The range plane shows you both elevation of targets and their distance from a given point. When no ships are selected, it sits at the center of the battle space. Select the small beginnings now to see how the plane changes.
Send your traffic.
Take note that the range plane moved to center on that ship. It'll also track with it. All ranges will be indicated relative to your currently selected ship. Notice how the line from the enemy track to the range plane has a slight curve. This is because elevation and range are not directly related, so the contact's distance on the plane must be projected onto a sphere. This layout makes it easy to determine the range of a target by looking at the position of the plane relative to your selected ship's capabilities. The dotted lines represent maximum ranges of your ship's systems. Red indicates offensive range, blue is sensor range, and defensive systems are green.
Green. I don't really see any green lines. I see green unless that can't be it. Is it? Maybe it is. Oh, that's very close. If that's what it is, that's very close.
While there are common ship configurations found throughout the fleet, most ships have some unique capability. The ANS Small Beginnings is configured with 2 Mark 62 twin-barrel 120mm cannons and a 16-cell vertical missile launcher. I'm unlocking your weapon systems now, so let's put gunnery to the test with some tried-and-true naval fire. There are several ways to target weapons. The fastest and simplest is by shooting directly at the sensor track. To do this, right-click the red sensor track to bring up the action menu in track mode. The action menu will indicate it is in track mode by displaying the target's and track number in the space. It will automatically open the weapons list if there are any weapons on the ship. The active targeting mode is shown at the top of the list. Right now we are in track mode indicated by TRK. We'll talk about other modes later. Select the cannons from the weapon list and light up the target.
Engaging target.
Definitely seeing some hits there. Looking good.
I like how it's rotating so I can fire both cannons. Because that one's underneath, actually. Sorry, rolling, not rotating.
If the guns can't hit a target, the ship will automatically roll itself to get currently active weapon on angle on the target. This is called unmasking. Right now you'll notice that our fire is pretty inaccurate. This is because our targeting solution isn't using a fire control lock. The red dot jumping around near the track shows where our sensors think the target is.
That's not good.
Awaiting orders, Commander.
Let's improve our targeting accuracy by locking the target with our bullseye fire control radar, located on the top of the ship.
Top of what ship?
To do this, right-click the track and select the LCK, or lock, at the top of the action menu. You can also use the X key keyboard shortcut.
Locking target.
Notice the new icon on the target. This indicates that the target is locked on and is providing much better accuracy and increased update rate on the target. Remember, not all ships have fire control radar, and you'll only be able to get a lock with ships that have them equipped.
Oh, nice little trick.
Right now we are shooting armor-piercing, AP, shells at the target. Armor-piercing is effective on armor plating, but will only deal damage to internal components directly in the shell's path once it punctures the hull. While any damage is a good thing, we can deal even more damage by switching the shell type to high explosive, dealing damage to a wide area in the target's internals. We use high explosive, HE shells, against targets of appropriate size or smaller, or larger targets with heavy armor damage. HE shells cause much less damage to armor, but penetration will explode inside and do damage to all nearby components and personnel. To switch to HE shells, first open the action menu in track mode by right-clicking the track. In the weapons list, next to the cannons entry, click on the ammunition icon to open the ammunition list. Click the 120mm HE shell option to select it. The ammo switch is now pending and will only be executed if a new fire order is given. To begin firing the new ammo type, click the weapon group to confirm the ammunition change.
Engaging target.
Please stop saying oops.
Firing on the
Now we'll
You
select
are
the small
making me look
beginnings and
bad.
watch what it's up to. The mounts display shows the ship's cannons are firing and cycling. When the yellow bar is filled, the cannon will fire again. We can also see that the fire controls radar is solid green, indicating it's active and it has an active lock-on.
Bottom of the screen.
Here's the active orders list, showing an icon for each order the ship is currently executing. Right now we have an order to fire our guns and an order to lock the target.
Not this one? No. How do we know it's...
Gaining fire control solution.
Have the small beginnings hold fire and break their lock-on by right-clicking on the order icons to cancel them.
Clicking on the orders icon. This one? No. Okay, cancel. Did I not do something right? I did something wrong.
Gaining fire control solution.
Cancel the radar? What radar? The two striped symbols is the lock. Still need to cancel the lock. Oh, that? Oh.
And that's the basics of gunnery. The key thing is to know what ammunition to use, especially as your target takes more damage to warrant the big stuff. But what if you don't have a sensor track? Take a look at your ship's hulls, and you'll notice the 4 white octagons on the sides. These are radar panels, and provide coverage for their respective sector of space. There's also a central control module inside the ship, which track what these panels see.
Radar panels. Oh, you're crazy. I don't see radar panels. It's those things, maybe.
When panels are damaged or destroyed, you'll lose coverage in that area. Similarly, if the radar controller is destroyed, you'll lose all coverage in all directions. Obviously, fighting blind is not a good thing. But that won't put you out of the fight just yet. Direct fire weapons like cannons can fall back on visual targeting, where the crew will provide targeting data to your guns using onboard optics. Some weapons like missiles can't do this, however. I've ordered your crew to disable the radar. Take a moment and observe what happens. You don't want the first time you're operating without radar to be the real deal. With sensors disabled, you will now see visual contacts when you have one of your ships selected, and nothing when no ship is selected. Visual contacts are only useful to the ship that actually sees the target, unlike the sensor track, which was shared across all ships. If you don't see anything, you'll need to move within visual range, about 3,200 meters. I've created a marker in the general area for your reference. That won't happen in actual battle. You can fire on visual contacts the same way you did with the sensor tracks. Use visual targeting to fire at the target ship with the small beginnings guns again.
Thought we were out of range, though. No? Not gonna let me do that? Oh. It's not letting me shoot. Position, move to position.
Heading there now, Commander.
Yes, I know I need to move closer. That's what I'm doing. I think.
Send traffic.
Look, we're moving.
Reporting.
I was supposed to do... Was it,
Helm, address the formation.
Oh, I just screwed that up.
Standing by.
Supposed to be doing... Was it, There. So basically, we're supposed to be telling them
Helm,
what
address
part,
formation.
how the formation is supposed to be. In this case, we say on the right side. So, trying to remember my tutorial from the other day. Wasn't clicking. You there yet?
Standing by.
We're there.
Target locked. They're gonna learn today.
In a situation like this, you can imagine things are not going too well for you, but you'll at least still be a threat, so don't feel too cut up if your sensors go dark.
So keep your place. Next up, Helldiver 2 with chat. No, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Now missiles. The ships in this fleet carry two variants of the SGM-2 series anti-ship cruise missiles, the Thunderhead and the Hurricane. The Hurricane is a command-guided missile, which means it is guided to the target by a launching ship. If it misses the target, it will come back around and try again until it runs out of fuel, is shot down, or finally hits the target. Command missiles are very difficult to avoid. The only way to defeat them without destroying the missile itself is by destroying the launching ship or jamming its sensors or communication. Shoot the archer, as we say. The downside is that the Hurricane must be shot at a sensor track. If you lose a track, the Hurricane will be useless. Let's launch 3 Hurricane missiles at the target. Start by opening the action menu in track mode on the target. Now select the SGM-225 Hurricane with the weapons list. This will queue up a single missile shot at the target and leave you with an active track selection widget.
Missile away.
Multiple missiles can be fired with a single order using the left Alt key. Hold the left Alt key and click on the target to add one more missile per click. The number of queued missiles is shown next to your mouse cursor. To issue the order, you can either click the left mouse button with the left Alt key released, or you can press the Enter key. Once you've issued a launch order, you'll notice the Mount Status display will show the number of missiles that are being spun up for a launch. It takes time between when the target is selected and when the missile actually leaves the ship. This warm-up time is when the weapons control system brings the missile online, checks it for errors, establishes a reference frame for the IMU, uploads the target package, and more.
How many missiles do we have? Cancel. Okay, so Shift Alt add to Salvo 4. So Shift Alt. Can first no. How do we can't? Oops.
You need to get up and step away from the computer.
It's a
That
lot of
was really
spite.
bad.
It's a very. It is a lot of spite. Okay, try this again. So you. This one. Then we'll just do Shift Alt 4. 4.
Missile away.
Left click again to confirm. Take a couple of seconds to fire this stuff. And here they come.
Programming time varies by missile type, with more complicated missiles taking more time. The number of missiles that can be warmed up and programmed at the same time is referred to the ship's maximum salvo size, and it varies from ship to ship based on its configuration. These two frigates each have 4 channels, so 4 missiles can be fired at a time.
Hey, Trunk, welcome back.
Missiles are one of your most limited and precious resources, second only to the ships themselves. They are extremely powerful, but extremely scarce. You'll need to know when to use them, as it can't be replenished under normal circumstances outside of a port. A frigate like the Rains will be crippled by only 2 or 3 missile hits, but in a real fight it will often take more than that to penetrate an enemy's point defense, which are a serious threat to Hurricanes as they tend to fly in a direct path. The ANS Dusty Tome is carrying a different missile loadout. Select the ship now so we can take a look at it.
Receiving.
This frigate is carrying Thunderheads, an active radar-guided missile, which means it carries its own method for finding targets, allowing it to seek targets by itself. It can be targeted in the same way as the Hurricane missiles, but once it has left the tube, it's entirely autonomous. When it reaches the end of its path, it will activate its onboard seeker and begin searching for a target. The greatest benefit of active missiles is that they can be sent on complex waypoint paths, allowing for multi-angle strikes and even hitting targets behind asteroids. But we'll cover that when you get to your advanced missile trials. For now, let's just fire 3 Thunderhead missiles at the target as we did before with the Hurricanes.
Too close? We're too close. Okay, then. How close are we not supposed to be? It's like LRMs, there's a minimum range of fire and forget missiles, obviously. Most things flying sideways. it was turning. Never mind. There we go. That's 3, right?
Target confirmed. Missile away.
As easy as it is to use active radar missiles, there are some downsides to their operation. The first is that the missile must find a target within the cone of its seeker in order to track and kill it. This makes evasive maneuvers such as course changes an easy way to defeat active missiles fired at long range, especially against fast-moving targets. The second shortcoming is that active seekers are easy to decoy with chaff and other countermeasures, meaning more missiles need to be used in order to score a hit, as active missile radars are particularly sensitive to jamming and decoys. But that should do it for your weapons trial. I'll have Fleet Logistics retrieve the dummy ship, and I recommend looking into all the weapons when you get your chance. I'll see you at the Academy.
So many different weapons. So, it starts. Oh, look at that poor little shaky divine. So much abuse. 20 minutes for that, but that's no big deal. Okay, so single player campaign tutorial. What's next on the list? Damage control. Extensive damage control training ensures the ship is able to maintain combat capability even under enemy fire. Oh, this is going to be exciting, maybe.
Alright, ready for something really nerve-wracking? For as long as you're out here in space, it's inevitable that you're going to take a few hits over the course of your career. In reality, the odds of us coming out unscathed of an engagement are exceedingly low. If you want to stay fit and combat effective, you're going to need to learn how to repair damage. Let's begin. To start, select the A&S Small Beginnings. I've had my boys set up some simulated scenarios for us to cover. Just stay cool. You'll start seeing some damage come up. For the purpose of this training exercise, I've just simulated damage in 3 of the Small Beginnings subsystems: Mount 1, the main radar controller, and the Combat Information Center. In the ship list, you'll notice a number of new icons have appeared. The orange number indicates the number of damaged components with active debuffs, which affects the performance of those damaged components.
What list? I'm going to see this stuff over here, but I don't see an actual list.
If there's a fire, it will be indicated here. Obviously, a fire in an enclosed space is a serious threat to ship survival. It'll slowly damage the ship over time, and it'll also slow down the working speed of damage control teams. This red number indicates the components have been damaged to the point where they are no longer functional. This also includes components which have been completely destroyed.
Fire counts, modules, stuff.
The red chevrons indicate the ship's command system are not operational, meaning they are no longer receiving any orders. Open the action menu to see what it looks like. The text at the center of the action menu will display "Not Receiving" when a ship can't receive orders. This is because the CIC, or Combat Information Center, has taken critical damage.
That's not good.
You may have warships with backup command systems that allow maneuvering orders to be carried out while the CIC is disabled. This allows you to get your ship to safety and effect repairs. However, this ship isn't fitted with that.
Of course it's not. It's a frigate.
Going back to the ship's status display, we can see the damaged components and their locations. By clicking on the status display, we can open the damage control board. Do so now.
Yeah, okay.
The damage control board will show all of the components installed on the ship and their current status. You can use the filter buttons at the top to suppress things that you don't want to see.
Command link restored.
Your damage control officer will automatically prioritize repairs based on how important a component is. For example, your reactor and CIC are going to be priority 1, as they're critical to the operation of the ship. If you have your own priorities, you can click on one of the items on the board to prioritize it manually. Prioritized items are highlighted in blue. Keep in mind that changing priorities frequently can cause teams to move around a lot, which wastes valuable time that could be used for repairs.
I didn't click on that.
Damage control teams are stationed in a DC locker and will move from there when damage is taken. It'll take time for repairs to start, as the teams need to get themselves and their tools to the casualty. You can see the progress of the damage control teams by the gauge filling up on their token. Hazards like fires are their first priority, before they'll begin repairing actual damage, as these can deal damage over time. The important thing to remember is that once a component has taken damage below 90%, it can never be fully repaired back to 100%. Maximum repair is 10% more than the lowest integrity level the component had at the time of repairs. We'll let your teams work before we continue. Let's do 2 more drills. The first is a component restoration exercise.
We're not done yet. Work faster, not smarter. Are they still working? 77%, 78, and 15. Oh, that is not good.
The CIC is now destroyed, with the integrity at 0%. Repair teams won't begin repairs to get it operational again, without you explicitly telling them to do so. You'll need to get it repaired. In the damage control board, find the CIC and use left shift plus left click to order your repair teams to start working on it. Once it's repaired, the ship will be able to receive orders again.
You have more than one team working on it? Guessing now. Or right orange one and red one. Down here. Well, yeah, I'm also looking up here in the upper left-hand corner too.
This must be done manually, because restoring a component is a time and equipment-intensive process. The equipment to do so is stored in the DC locker, and each locker only holds enough materials for 1 or 2 restorations. Although the CIC is disabled and this ship can't receive orders to move or fire, you will always be able to prioritize damage control to attempt repairs. But this means that your repair teams are extremely vulnerable. They're moving into parts of the ship that are actively taking enemy fire and could very well be killed. If all the personnel on a team are killed in action, you'll lose the team completely. If you run out of repair teams, you won't be able to repair at all. You can't replenish teams outside of a port, so keep that in mind. We'll wait for your teams to finish their work, then we'll continue.
Done? How can I tell that they're actually making progress? I searched something about a bar filling up, but I don't see any bars filling up. I don't see them actually do anything. Sacrifice I'm willing to make what? The repair crews? Yeah, they're worthless if they can't repair anything anymore. It's a circle around the system. It's just that it's so damn small you can't see it. Any time management? Not that I see. They didn't mention anything about time management. This one is taking forever to get fixed.
Command link
Now that the
restored.
CIC is restored, the Small Beginnings is ready to receive orders again. After the
I
teams
didn't
reboot
see
all the
that filling
computers,
up.
that is. Lastly, we'll do something a little dangerous, a catastrophic scenario.
Oh god.
Most component damage is localized and will only affect the part of the ship where the damage was received. On the other hand, catastrophic scenarios are situations which, left unchecked, will eventually take the whole ship down. These situations include reactor overloads, magazine explosions, and fuel line fires, just to name a few.
Just a few.
Your repair teams will automatically move to prevent catastrophic damage, so there's not much you can do except watch. Just get a feel for what it will look like.
You can only watch the ship burn.
Your damage control officer will always prioritize repairs for a situation like this. The ship's survival always comes first.
Too bad you can't see it from out here.
Traffic.
Again, I cannot see this filling. I can't see this actually changing, really. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's the problem. So I saw it fill up in green, and then I went to red, and this one's not doing anything. At least that I can see. Or is it filling in from a different area? Is it filling up? I think it might be filling up. Again, that's not real obvious. They should have made those a little bit bigger. But I'm guessing they don't because they got to fit in all the different box sizes here. But I think that's getting... Yeah, it looks like that one's filling up. That one's done. Maybe. I'm guessing red means it's done. Two different colors. I say black empty circle filling up clockwise with blue going into green, then it was half full. Oh yeah, I'm seeing the color change, but I'm just saying the color choices were not the best. Because red indicates to me that there's still work to be done. That they're not done. That's just me. Are we done?
Notice the flashing warning icon in the ship's list. Below the icon is an estimated countdown before the situation gets out of control. If you don't know what's wrong, you can hover over the warning icon to see a tooltip.
Warning icon. I don't see a warning icon.
Out of all the catastrophic damage you might see, reactor overloads are the most deadly. Your teams know how to work with a damaged reactor, but fires and other hazards can make it a nearly impossible task to complete. Should the reactor go critical, you'll see a reactor bloom with a blast radius of about 1.5 kilometers. Standard doctrine states to move all of the friendly warships out of the danger radius of a ship with an impending reactor overload. Be careful around enemy wrecks as well. Your weapons could have damaged the reactor housings, and you'll get little to no warning before they go off. But Commander, that's it for your damage control trials. Just keep an eye on your teams and be smart about their movements, and you'll come out just fine. Remember, the ship's survival always comes first.
So it seems that something's not matching what she's saying. Just saying, something doesn't seem right there. At the end there, the flashing, I didn't see anything flashing. Good reactor, you have really made a mess of this. Yes, you have. Okay, so sensors and electronic warfare were the fun stuff. Don't waste your time. E-War is not simple, and neither is sensors. There's so many intricate little details when it comes to intelligence and radar, but thankfully you have me as your instructor. I am screwed.
It's critical for you to understand your sensors and the things that affect them, as they act as your eyes in the battle space. After all, you can't shoot what you can't see.
Sure you can. Close your eyes and sure you can.
But now it's time to learn how they actually work. How to evade detection while spotting the enemy, and how to fool your opponent is absolutely paramount to a successful engagement. Let's begin. Select the ANS Small Beginnings.
Send traffic.
The first thing we'll talk about is your signature size and methods of signature control. Active sensors like radar detect enemy ships by bouncing radio waves off of them. The physical size of your ship, combined with the angle of surface and the cross-sectional area from the viewing angle, affect the size of the returned energy. In other words, the same ship will appear on sensors at a longer range if its broadside is facing the enemy versus being bow on. The smallest radar cross-section for the Rains frigate, for example, is from above and below the port and starboard stern. You can see the size of your signature by hovering over the signature summary on the ship information bar.
Signature size. That. Numbers. Hey, K's, welcome back.
There are other contributing factors to the size of your signature, including what modules are active and how many ships are nearby. Right now, there is another ship nearby, which is boosting the size of the radar return and making it so the enemy can see us at a longer range. Let's lower our footprint. Move the small beginnings more than 250 meters away from the Dusty Tome, so you won't contribute to each other's signatures. Don't move towards the enemy. We want to keep our current range.
Do this. I'm gonna move that way.
Aye, aye. Full burn.
To reduce your signature, don't write your name in the first place. There's the thing.
If you hover over the signature summary with your mouse, you will see the nearby ships modifier is gone, reducing our overall footprint.
So we didn't have to move very far at all.
It's good, but we'll need to do better if we want to hide ourselves from the enemy. On the ship list, the yellow icon indicates that the ship is spotted by the enemy's sensors and is being tracked. Similarly, a red crosshair here would show that the ship is locked by the enemy's fire control radar.
That would be bad.
We have a good set of tools to reduce our radar footprint even further. Let's see what we can do to shake the enemy off. This switch will toggle our radar systems off, greatly reducing our footprint.
What switch?
This switch disables our communication suites, which can provide a modest reduction in our signature size.
What switch? I haven't seen any switches being highlighted or anything.
Go ahead and turn off both of these now, and see how it affects our signature size.
Nothing was highlighted on my screen. So what was I supposed to be clicking? She didn't say. I think she said 250 meters. You selected 1500. That's fine. That's no big deal. My question is which ones am I supposed to be turning off? Turn off the radar? Communications. Is that what she's talking about? I don't know.
You may be surprised to see that even with your radars off, you are still seeing tracks. This is because the ANS Dusty Tome still has the radars and comms on, and is transmitting tracks to the small beginnings, sharing their own data. Hover over Signature Summary with your mouse to see how changing these emission settings altered your signature.
So signature size, radar's off, comms off, so there we go. So reduce my signature by 34%.
If you didn't move too close to the enemy, you'll notice that the yellow icon indicating the ship is being tracked has disappeared. If you are still being tracked, it might be because your hull is at an angle that maximizes radar reflections. Even then, a lower signature size reduces the distance at which the enemy can detect you, even if you are well inside their maximum sensor range.
Helm, take us in.
See if that helps any.
Disabling emissions also has the added benefit of making you undetectable by passive sensors. Passive radar sensing is typically able to detect you 125% further away from your maximum radar range, so being invisible to it has an obvious benefit. The downside, of course, is that turning off your radars means you can't detect threats as easily. Similarly, disabling comms means that the ship is no longer transmitting any tracks it sees to friendly ships in the fleet. Ships with their comms off will still be able to receive tracks from other transmitting ships, so they can act as a silent shooter. Go ahead and re-enable both the radar and the communications on the small beginnings.
But I don't want them to see me.
Now it's time to experience what having your sensors jammed feels like.
Gee, thanks.
Sensor interference
Confusing,
will be
right?
jammed.
Oh. Wasn't expecting that. So we're getting a bunch of bogus stuff out there.
The enemy jammer is saturating our radar with radio waves, making it difficult for our systems to find legitimate contacts. This noise of contacts is what we are seeing, instead of the real radar picture. Notice that we lost track of the ship in front of us, but the one on the right is still clear as day. This is because jamming only affects the area around the direction that is being jammed. Keep this in mind when you're trying to use jamming to protect your own ships. We do have a tool available that can be used in a pinch, the burn-through sweep. Not all radar modules have this, but it allows for a short, high-powered sweep in all directions. To execute the burn-through sweep, open the action menu and select the BRN or burn-through command on the top. Then, as quickly as you can, attempt to lock the target. You can use the X key for the lock-on shortcut. Burn-through sweeps will show a unique icon for detected targets, making it easier to spot the target through the noise. The icon will linger for about 30 seconds to give you time to lock on. Locked targets are much less susceptible to being lost through jamming.
Aye, aye.
Too far away.
Standing by. Aye, aye.
I think I'm too far away. Dun, dun, dun. I blame Gimpy.
Reporting.
I blame Gimpy too in this case.
On it.
Dun.
Acknowledged. Locking that target. Sensor interference. We're being jammed. We're being jammed. Affirmative.
Stop being jammed then. Oh, that one we can see now.
That's it. Most of the time you'll be able to maintain a fire control lock in spite of jamming. But keep in mind that jamming power stacks, so a fleet with enough jammers active at the same time will break any lock.
So the issue here was I was too far away, I think.
Because burn-through sweeps use a much higher power output, they also have the added benefit of being able to spot smaller, weaker contacts at a greater range. This is useful for finding small scout ships or approaching missiles. The downside is
Hey,
that the higher
Gimpy,
power output
it is time
runs the
to
risk
take
of
a
causing
break.
damage to the amplifiers every time you use it, so be careful not to burn out your radars.
This break supports the purchase of Rocket's treats. If you would like to help Rocket feel like a puppy again, please visit gimpyne.com/support or type !treats in chat. Thank you.
We'll wait until we're done with this tutorial.
Your next break is in 1 hour.
Your other option for burning through jamming is simply to get closer to the enemy, brute forcing your way in. Just try not to get sunk in the process.
Closer. Okay, that's what I just did, isn't it? Sort of.
Jamming the enemy ourselves can be as easy as right-clicking their track and selecting our jammers with the EW weapons menu. However, these targets are far enough apart that they won't both be covered by the cone centered on only one of them. The ANS Dusty Tome is carrying a blanket radar jammer. We'll use that to jam both targets by catching them both in the jammer's cone of effect by targeting a position between both contacts. You can target a weapon on a position in space by opening the action menu by right-clicking in open space instead of on a track, and use the sphere widget to target a position between the two contacts. Remember to use the tactical view as it will give you precise bearings for positional targeting.
It's a cone, so that's even better. It's this jammer. Too far away. Oh, that's actually a pretty big cone, isn't it?
When in the tactical view, you'll see each track's position projected onto the sphere of the widget. To blind both of them, aim for a point between those two projected positions. Remember that you can change the radius of the widget by holding left control and drawing the radius in or out.
Do that again. Okay, so...
Let's scrub their signal.
That's a little better. Did it? No, I missed that one. Never mind.
Let's scrub their signal. Engaging jamming. We hear
And like that, they can't see us anymore, just like what happened to us. But they can also use the same tactics like burn-throughs or approaching us to sift through the jamming.
Okay, sorry about that. Mrs. Gibby was talking to me about stuff. Okay, so, jammed.
While jamming power is additive, it is not linear. The more jamming signals that are present in an area, the more they begin to create destructive interference and cancel each other out. Think of it like diminishing returns. Even if you don't successfully jam the enemy's tracking of your ships, an active jamming signal will still reduce their sensor accuracy. This is particularly devastating for point defenses, which are shooting at very small, very fast targets and therefore require great accuracy. Using standoff jamming in coordination with your missile salvos will make them devastatingly effective. Let's try it. Fire off the missile salvo at the enemy ship ahead, and see how their defenses react with your jammer active.
Send traffic.
Okay, sure.
Solution locked in.
Yeah, we got one whole missile coming. So, oh, he's still shooting at it though. Seemed to work. Shoot more missiles apparently. Engagement failed. Bite me.
Launch confirmed.
Ah, shit. Screwed that up.
We hear you, Command. Yes, Commander.
Can't lock. Is our little disruption still on, or is it off? Appears to be off. So we got to be a little bit faster.
We are.
Watch how erratically the enemy defenses are firing. Point defense requires pinpoint precision, which your jamming is preventing by flooding their sensors with far too many false contacts.
Disrupt their signal.
That ought to work.
Send traffic. Preparing to launch.
What are our orders, Commander?
He can't lock while he's doing that, it looks like.
Standing by.
Here go the missiles. Point defense. Oh, it's still working. I don't know, that seemed to work pretty well. Pause contact for a good time. No, don't do that. So the east, that was not that effective. Is that even being hit? Looks like it's being hit. So how come the missiles aren't hitting?
Yes, Commander.
I feel like I'm getting robbed. Jamming was well, but it's still up though, right there.
Preparing to launch.
That might be too many missiles to fire, but
We hear you, Command. I'd hate to be on the other side of those.
there's the jamming is still going on, but those things are still getting shot down. I don't think. That one just freaking missed. And this one is just moving too fast in a circle for them to even hit. So,
When using jamming to cover a missile attack, you'll still need to watch out for airburst point defenses like flak guns, as they don't require much accuracy. Most importantly, the blanket jammer has a 90-second firing time. This is to prevent the amplifiers from overheating and being damaged. However, there are times where you absolutely have to be able to use the system, or you'll lose the ship. In that case, you might not care whether the module destroys itself.
this missile is confusing.
This is what Battle Short is for. Select the ANS Dusty Tome if it isn't already. This is the toggle for the Battle Short mode. When this is on, all equipment safeties are disabled, and the equipment will continue to run until it destroys itself. Reserve it for emergency use, or you'll hear an endless litany of profanity from the damage control officer. When Battle Short is enabled, active components with active duration timers will periodically be damaged. However, they will only begin taking damage when they exceed their normal firing time. One last thing to note is that most electronic warfare modules are single-cycle systems. That means they won't repeatedly fire on the same target after their cooldown period, and you'll need to designate a new target every time the system comes off cooldown. Jamming is an extremely powerful tactic when used at the right time. Use it to cover your retreat, confuse enemy fire, cover your missiles, and anything else you can think of. With that out of the way, that should do it for sensors and E-War. I hope I made it easy to follow, because the guidebooks on these are nightmarish. I'll see you back at the academy.
So this didn't actually do anything that I could tell. I mean, that jammer was active, and these things were still shooting down the missiles. So I don't think that works the way they explained it to be working. Anyway, you need to take a break. You have to get up, stretch my legs, get some water. Go see what Mrs. Gimpy and Rocket are up to. And when we get back, we will continue on with the tutorial stuff. So, thank you very much for watching. Be back shortly. Enjoy the dog video.